I decided to leave Amazon, software engineering, and $250,000 at only the age of 24. And you're probably thinking I'm stupid for doing this and that I threw away the opportunity of a lifetime. But we need to go all the way back to the beginning for you to get the real story and to understand why I made that decision. In 2023, I went to Mexico for the first time. I got to meet my family out there, and this was around the time I was 6 months into the job. I got a job as a front-end engineer, but my job was really full stack software engineer, DevOps, everything, the whole shebang. And I was working on the AI team at Amazon, and I got signed in 2022. Anyways, went to Mexico, and I had a, believe it or not, spiritual awakening. Yeah. Now you're probably thinking I'm extra stupid. You're like, what is wrong with this guy? There's obviously a whole combination of things. I had a relationship that was failing at the time. I was really sad. It ended on bad terms because of me. It's my fault. And I chose to leave Seattle. I chose to leave Amazon. I chose to leave that whole engineering world at the time, telling myself that it's because I was moving on to something better. But the truth is, I was just running away. I was scared of everything that was happening. I grew up in the trenches. Really came from nothing. Lived basically in Section 8 housing my whole life. And I didn't know any engineers growing up. No one made it out of my school. It was just a different world, to be honest. You know, the way that people from my area growing up, their outlook on life was just, they needed to provide as quickly as possible for their families. And most of them would get, you know, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Mexicans, maybe. And they would get pregnant around 17, 18, and have families, get married, have 2-3 kids by the time they were 23. It's crazy. And I just hated that world. I wanted to escape it. I didn't want to be a part of it, you know? And I was so driven to leave, and I wanted to be just different from everyone. And so I always had an affinity for STEM. I was always really good at math. And so I would spend every single day skipping lunch, going to the college and career center. You know, I was that kind of nerd. And just applying to scholarships. And eventually I was able to find my way into the University of Washington. And I was able to join their computer science program, which is extremely difficult to get into, very hard. The acceptance rate for computer science inside of UW is Ivy League level. And it's the 6th best computer science school in the nation. And I was just so amazed that I could make it there. Like, me. Crazy. And I really struggled. See, I did really well in high school. I had like a 3.86 GPA. Took the AP classes. And then I went to college and I ended up getting a 2.5. I graduated with a 2.5 GPA. I barely passed. It was rough. I didn't feel like I belonged. I thought I was a nerd going into college. I am not shit compared to these MFs that are in there. All these kids from China, India, international students, they're just on a different level. And I wasn't ready for all of that, you know. So despite all this, I graduated, and I didn't think I would be able to find a job in computer science because I didn't think that I deserved it. But eventually, I got a job at Amazon. What I mentioned, it was a really high-paying job. I'll show you the offer letter. This was, June 2022. And the salary was $120. And there was a sign-on bonus that was $50,000. The first half was given right when I joined, and the second half at the end of the first year. And my stock options were $88,000. So it was actually closer to $260,000, the whole offer. But yeah, I went to Mexico, and I was able to connect with the land, and I was able to realize that I just wasn't made for that life. And I was able to stop being so afraid, stop running away from my problems. And I've always been fascinated by technology. I loved learning all the shortcuts to computers growing up. I would always be in the computer lab, memorizing everything, just experimenting with the operating system, just super nerd, to be honest. And that part of me hasn't gone away, I would say. It's still there. But what I didn't realize, even consciously at the time when I left, was that I didn't want to build the systems that Amazon was building, the systems that big tech is building, the weapons that they're building against society, and how they are turning the youth into mindless drones, serving their technocrat overlords. I'll make another video about this later, but if you ever have spare time, you should look into Landianism. It's this concept about the truth, the spiritual truth behind AI, and who's really behind all of it, and why they're wanting to push this so hard on us. But they have no idea that the very tools that they think are here to enslave us will be our liberation. Because a long time ago, roughly 100,000 years ago, the story that we're told about humans, that we started as these cavemen, these retards, slobbering all over the place, guttural noises. They told us that this was our less evolved state that we originated from. But these humans, in reality, were very different. They existed in a state of the void state, okay? They didn't have thoughts. They were able to have complete silence in here. And you think that your thoughts that you're thinking right now are a part of you. But if you were to try meditating, if you were to try staring at a wall, I'll keep teaching you guys different techniques so you can learn, see for yourself, see that I'm not crazy, or at least a little less crazy. That we are so much more than our bodies, than our thoughts. And what AI is bringing now is a return to that state where you interact with your AI of choice, the text box, your chat bots, all this. And you have an idea, you type it in, and it becomes reality. And this is actually what the real purpose of me making that Tum 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 video I did. I'll link it here. And we're returning to that state where you can have a thought and it becomes your reality. And there's a reason that the highest paying jobs for a bachelor's degree are jobs in STEM, jobs in software engineering. And yeah, everyone at Amazon was just miserable. It was swagless, a sauceless life. And even sadly, there were some people that committed suicide. it's not an easy place, you know. It sounds so nice, you know, being in that cushy office, that cushy job. And when you're working retail, you're working these other jobs, you know, it seems like the dream job. But there's a real price to pay when joining these companies. And for me, I just felt like I was selling out, and I realized that I was destined for so much more. And yeah, now I've just really made peace with who I am, accepting that I'm just different and I'm meant to blaze a new path. And so I have been working on a lot of projects. For a while, I had stopped coding altogether, but now I've been working on some projects to really try to liberate. Because when you start building projects that are for the advancement and the sake of humanity, you stop prioritizing shareholder interests, there's a completely new world that you unlock, and there's so many possibilities. You know, we could solve hunger, we could solve homelessness, we could solve poverty. We have the tools to build it. And I know that there's a lot of special people out there, a lot of really cool people here on Earth with so many different skill sets. And my skill set is creation. And I get to do it through here, through these videos, and through coding. And it's all just worked out so beautifully, and I couldn't be more grateful. And it's been hard surviving without the money, leaving that cushy job, not knowing what next month is going to look like. But there's that transition period, you know, when you start believing in yourself and you just let life take you where you need to go, and you give up control. It's really difficult. And the biggest pitfall, one of the first things that turned me away from wanting to work as a software engineer, was the lives of all the engineers around me. Just so sad. Like, so many of them were just like, their whole life was the job. And they made so much money, like stupid money, but they were miserable. Like, all they would do outside of work was just think about work. We had an on-call schedule, so you had to be available at every time of the day, weekends included, to you could get pinged on your phone, and you would have to jump on a call immediately. And if you didn't, your manager would get pinged directly, and I would get pinged at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. My team thankfully wasn't as bad as some of the other on-call rotations, but it was just brutal. Like, you just felt guilted for not making that whole system your life, and I wasn't about to do that. And this is actually similar to the cult video that I made. You should watch it. It's all connected. All these systems, they want to weaponize all these beautiful things, this life, against us. But you just have to be patient with yourself. Because I know that despite these miserable lives that I saw these engineers building, there was still a light inside of all of them, and so many things that they were passionate about, and they were scared to pursue. You know, and I always tell my software engineering friends, I always ask them, like, how much money would it take for you to quit, for you to leave, for you to go all in on your passion? And for a lot of them, the number is like hundreds of thousands. And the crazy thing is, working in that world, is that you can get there within, honestly, like a few years, 5 years. But what happens when you get there? You've been trained like a dog. You might have the hundreds of thousands, but you have been completely debilitated. You have been programmed. You have been programmed. And it's that lifestyle, the energy, is the real price to pay. And that's not something that I'm willing to give up any longer. So, yeah. Coming back from Mexico, it was great to have that clarity, to come back to life, assimilate, be here in New York, be with the trees. And I know one day I'll be able to find a group of people that are as passionate about technology as me, that I can work alongside to help build this new future. But for now, I'm just going to keep making these videos and sharing my story. And for that kid out there growing up the way that I did, you love computers, you're passionate about technology, about STEM, you can change the world. The world wants you, the universe wants you, God wants you. The billionaires are gonna hate you, but you are the way. And I have faith in you. Just keep following your passion and don't be afraid to tread that lonely path, that quiet path. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Just keep going. You'll get there one day. I'm here, after all. Things turned out great, and I know they will for you too. Peace.